Gandhi, the man who stood against British imperialism and paved the way for the birth of the largest democracy that is India. His commitment to nonviolence and truth, despite challenges and criticism, shaped the trajectory of 20th century political movements, and his ideas continue to resonate with activists, scholars, and leaders around the world. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi was born on October 2nd, 1869, in Porbandar, situated in the Kathiawar region of India, then under British dominion. Gandhi's father, Karamchand Gandhi, held the position of chief minister in Porbandar, as well as in various other western Indian states, while his mother, Putlibai, was deeply devoted to her faith and practiced regular fasting. As a child, Gandhi exhibited a quiet, timid demeanor, showing no particular strength in either his studies or athletics. He found solace in long walks by himself. He was absorbed by stories of Shravana and King Harishchandra. In May 1883, Mohandas Gandhi was married to Kastabai Gokuldas Kapadia. In September 1888, Gandhi set sail for England to pursue a degree in law. Gandhi successfully completed his degree at the Inner Temple and was called to the bar on the 10th of June, 1891. He enrolled in the High Court of London, but later that year he left for India after learning the news of his mother's passing just weeks prior. For the next 2 years, Gandhi attempted to practice law in India, establishing himself in the legal profession in Bombay. Unfortunately, he found that he lacked self-confidence at trial. His practice collapsed and he returned home to Porbandar. It was while he was contemplating his seemingly bleak future that a representative of an Indian business firm situated in the Transvaal, now Gauteng, South Africa, offered him employment. He was to work in South Africa for a period of 12 months for a fee of £105. Gandhi arrived in South Africa on May 24, 1893. Upon his arrival, he was struck by the rampant discrimination and racial segregation imposed on Indian immigrants by white British and Boer authorities. A pivotal incident unfolded on June 7, 1893, during a train ride to Pretoria when a white passenger objected to Gandhi being in the first-class compartment, despite his valid ticket. Standing firm, Gandhi refused to vacate his seat, only to be forcibly ejected from the train in Pietermaritzburg. Gandhi would experience many such incidents of racial bias in South Africa, which sparked a fierce resolve in him to become an advocate for civil rights. Gandhi began to question his people's standing in the British Empire. As he prepared to head back to India at the conclusion of his contract, news of legislation in the Natal Legislative Assembly compelled him to stay. In 1899, the Second Anglo-Boer War broke out. Gandhi would assemble the Natal Indian Ambulance Corps, a volunteer ambulance corps composed entirely of Indians to support the British, although his sympathies lay with the Boer quest for independence from Britain. At the Battle of Spion Kop, Gandhi and his bearers moved to the front line since the terrain was too rough for the ambulances. Gandhi and 37 other Indians received the Queen's South Africa Medal. Gandhi established a communal living community called Phoenix Settlement just outside of Durban in June 1904. It would become the site for Gandhi's newspaper, The Indian Opinion. Inspired by the Bhagavad Gita, Gandhi wanted to purify his life by following the concepts of aparigraha, non-possession. Gandhi simplified his diet to foods that were unspiced and usually uncooked, with fruits and nuts being a large portion of his food choices. In August 1906, the Asiatic Law Amendment Ordinance was passed in the Transvaal. It required Indians and Chinese in the Transvaal to register and carry a registration certificate which had to be produced on demand by the police. The penalty for non-compliance was a fine, imprisonment, or even deportation. It became known as the Black Act. the Indian and Chinese communities would begin an 8-year-long campaign to resist the act. When the certificate offices opened on July 1, 1907, resistors picketed outside the office. Initially known as the Passive Resistance Campaign, Gandhi coined the term satyagraha, literally truth force. On August 16, 1908, Gandhi addressed his followers and they burnt their registration certificates. Once again, Gandhi and others would be arrested and released. In 1910, Herman Kallenbach, a Lithuanian-born Jewish South African, would assist Gandhi to establish Tolstoy Farm, a farming community on the outskirts of Johannesburg in the Transvaal. From Tolstoy Farm, the Satyagrahis practiced other small forms of civil disobedience, including selling fruits and vegetables without licenses to do so. In March 1913, the Supreme Court announced it would not recognize Hindu and Muslim marriages. This would revive the protests and encourage women to join Gandhi's campaign in larger numbers. The protests continued unabated, culminating in a march of over 2,000 men and 120 women, led by Gandhi, from Newcastle in the Natal Midlands to Charlestown, a small town on the Natal-Transvaal border. Indians from surrounding sugarcane farms, miners, and farm workers would join the march. Gandhi was sentenced to 9 months' imprisonment with hard labor. Others would be sent to prisons in Newcastle. The hard line taken by authorities would only encourage more workers to protest. By the end of November of 1913, sugar mills had closed, and hotels, restaurants, and homes were without workers, and produce markets in Durban and Pietermaritzburg had come to a standstill. Gandhi would be released from jail, having only served 6 weeks of his 9-month sentence. In early 1914, the Indian Relief Act was passed. Indian marriages were recognized, the Black Act was abolished, and the Immigration Restriction Act was lightened. In 1914, after 21 years in South Africa, Gandhi would leave South Africa. Gandhi returned to India in 1915, arriving at Wellington Pier in Bombay to a hero's welcome. On the advice of Gopal Krishna Gokhale, Gandhi would spend a year getting to know India. He would travel in a traditional loincloth and sandals. Gandhi would found a communal settlement at Kochrab near Ahmedabad called Sabarmati Ashram. For the next 16 years, this would be home for Gandhi. Gandhi would travel to Patna in 1917 in the northwest of India to meet the farmers from Champaran, who were being forced by the British to cultivate indigo on their land. Indigo was used for dyes and made the soil less fertile for crops. The British police superintendent ordered Gandhi to leave the district. Gandhi refused. He was to appear in court the next day, accompanied by a large following of peasants. Gandhi's defense was simply, he is an Indian in his own country. The judge had no other option but to let Gandhi go free. After a successful non-violent protest, the Champaran Agrarian Act was passed in 1918 to protect the interests of the peasants. This would be the first of many satyagrahas in India and would only elevate Gandhi's status. By now, he had been given the title of Mahatma, the Great Soul. The Rowlatt Act, passed by the Imperial Legislative Council in Delhi on the 18th March 1919, allowed British authorities to detain suspected seditionists without trial. Its purpose was to discourage the wave of Indian nationalism. In retaliation, Gandhi called for a satyagraha campaign, advocating peaceful protests and strikes against the act. It didn't go peacefully at all. A crowd would gather at the Jallianwala Bagh in Amritsar, Punjab, to peacefully protest. After blocking the exit with his troops, British General Reginald Dyer ordered his troops to shoot at the unarmed crowd, leaving hundreds dead. This event would incense and encourage Gandhi to play a more active role in denouncing the British rule. Gandhi renounced military honours awarded for his service in South Africa. Rejecting British fabrics, he began producing his own cloth using a spinning wheel, a symbol of Indian independence and self-sufficiency. The textile industry in India remains strong. To present day, Gandhi would lead the Swadeshi policy, Indian self-reliance over British-supplied goods. In 1920, Gandhi would lead the Indian National Congress. Jawaharlal Nehru, who was to become the first Prime Minister of India, would be Gandhi's greatest supporter. In February 1922, there would be an outbreak of mob violence in Chauri Chaura. The British seized the opportunity to arrest Gandhi on charges of sedition. Gandhi pleaded no contest and accepted his fate. He was sentenced to 6 years in prison. He was released in February 1924, following surgery for appendicitis. Gandhi undertook to once again place non-violent pressure on Britain. On March 12, 1930, Gandhi would embark on the Salt March to the Arabian Sea, where he would defiantly collect salt, symbolizing resistance against government control. He would make his intentions known to the Viceroy, Lord Irwin. Irwin did not take it seriously at all. The Salt March would lead to Indians producing and distributing salt, but the British would retaliate with approximately 60,000 people being arrested for violating the Salt Acts, including Gandhi himself. The Salt March would bring the affairs of India to the world, and Gandhi to the cover of Time magazine. Gandhi would be released, and negotiations would be held between Lord Irwin and Gandhi. The Gandhi-Irwin Pact was signed in March 1931. The British government agreed to free all political prisoners in return for the suspension of the civil disobedience movement. In addition, Gandhi was invited to attend the Round Table Conference in London to discuss India. The discussions did not go as planned. While Gandhi expected to discuss independence, the British discussed Lord Irwin's replacement and the plight of the Muslim minority. Gandhi returned to India in January 1932 from the Second Round Table Conference and started a new satyagraha. He would again be imprisoned due to a crackdown initiated by the new Viceroy, Lord Willingdon. With Gandhi incarcerated, the British implemented a plan to segregate the Indian population with a proportional representation scheme for local representation. The scheme benefited everyone, except the lowest caste in India, the poorest. Undoubtedly, the plan was designed to remove Indian nationalism. In response to this scheme, Gandhi began a 6-day fast. The public outrage that followed compelled the British to revise their proposal. It was replaced by the Pune Pact, which was seen as being more representative of the various castes and groups that make up India. As the world went to war in 1939, Britain would call on Indians to fight alongside the Allied forces. Gandhi would not be supportive, motivated by his belief that India could not be party to a war ostensibly being fought for democratic freedom, while that freedom was denied to India itself. As the war progressed, Gandhi intensified his demand for independence, calling for the British to quit India in a 1942 speech in Mumbai. Gandhi would again be arrested on August 9th. The government, having deprived the people of non-violent leadership, answered violence with greater violence until India virtually became a country under armed occupation. Gandhi would fast and contract malaria while interned in the Aga Khan Palace near Pune. His wife, Kasturba, fell ill, and in February 1944, she would pass away. By this time, India was divided between Hindu and Muslim. It was a convenient excuse for Britain. They were keeping the peace. Muhammad Ali Jinnah, leader of the All India Muslim League, wanted nothing less than a state separate from India for Muslims. 1946 would see large-scale violence across India amongst Hindus and Muslims. Eventually, the British concluded that partition was the only answer. On 2nd of June, 1947, the last Viceroy of India, Admiral Lord Louis Mountbatten, announced that Britain had accepted that the country should be divided into a mainly Hindu India and a mainly Muslim Pakistan. On 15 August 1947, India gained its independence. Pakistan would be a separate state, also independent. More than 500,000 people would perish in religious riots as 10 million to 12 million non-Muslims, Hindus and Sikhs mostly, migrated from Pakistan into India, and Muslims migrated from India into Pakistan across the newly created borders of India. Gandhi would spend the day spinning cotton, saddened by the bloodshed. Once again, Gandhi would fast in opposition to the violence. It would have the desired effect, and the violence would eventually end. At 5:17 p.m. on 30 January 1948, Gandhi was on his way to address a prayer meeting in the large park of the Birla House in New Delhi when Nathuram Godse, a Hindu nationalist, fired 3 bullets into Gandhi's chest from a pistol at close range. Gandhi's death would be mourned across India and amongst Indians abroad. His body would be cremated according to Hindu tradition, and his ashes dispersed across India. Gandhi is best remembered by the words of Nehru, the moral influence of his personality and of his gospel and technique of non-violence cannot be weighed in any material scale, nor is its value limited to any particular country or generation. It is his imperishable gift to humanity.